That's
Cruz and
rolling.
Cade.
That's rolling. Okay, I think we're good.
Not all of the notifications popping up on our
Oh
on
my
each
gosh,
other's phones.
that is kind of confusing. Okay.
They can choose from many.
I was gonna say, you have no excuse not to turn up, bro.
Oh no, I can't see if anyone says anything.
I know that is kind of the problem. I have decent eyes. I can actually read
I
those.
do not. Did you see what I sent you? Did
I have
you see
decent
what I
eyes,
sent you on
bro.
Instagram?
Yeah, look at all these drinks on the table too. Everyone's loaded up. We're good to go. Okay, guys, welcome back to Cruz on Joyage, episode like 5 or 6. We're interviewing LeAnn.
Cruising on a Joyage.
Yeah, I know. We need a name. We're gonna roll with it.
No,
until
honestly,
Cruz finds
I like
something.
it. Yeah,
kinda funny.
it's catchy.
It's kind of funny. But yeah, we're gonna interview LeAnn Donoso, talk about all the things related to crypto. No, I'm just kidding. Not crypto. Content creation. Content creation. Social media. I just feel like it's a topic a lot of people talk about, but they don't know because they're not like working in the industry. It's a very different type of game. And we're talking about life, talking about entrepreneurship and making money and all the things.
And most importantly, Disney Channel.
Oh, bro, I thought for sure you're gonna be like my girlfriend. But anyways, so you started this journey a long time ago. Cruz started a long time ago as well, and you guys are kind of doing like a joint duo squad thing. I think it's pretty cool. But do you want to give us like a quick little 2-minute rundown of like the first year or two when you were in the industry, when you were first getting started? The very beginning though, like a little 2-minute. What happened? You started and you weren't working, and then you boom come out of the scene.
Like from being employed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yeah,
so
just the beginning portion.
Story time, very short, very quick. I started working at a pizza place when I was like 16 years old. The moment that I could work, the moment I had access to a car. I never actually had my own car, but I had access to a car, and it took me to and from work. And right when I graduated, I was introduced to network marketing through Cruiser. Actually, we started dating my senior year. And that was when I had my eyes open to like entrepreneurship and making money online and just like being your own boss versus like trying to work for an hour and getting paid $9, which is how much I was getting paid. Is that a lot for?
I was making
what's like
$7.75 my first job and then $12 my second job.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, because it was about the same time.
Yeah, something like that.
And the minimum wage here was a little bit higher than
$10 an hour, baby. That's the most I ever made.
Dude.
Yeah.
Hourly jobs were.
I was at 9. It was not a fun experience,
Yeah.
but that led me into network marketing, working for myself. And I spent a year just like doing personal growth, doing personal development and learning, because I was actually pretty bad at first, like cringy 18-year-old LeAnn. She was trying and failing. But then after about a year, we were introduced to a new company that was more newer. So there was like more new things to talk about. And that was when it really took off. And within about 2 months of starting, I was able to quit my job and never go back.
Whoa.
So I was able to make enough money to replace my job. Like I wasn't rich or wealthy, but I exchanged my income for an online income, if that makes sense.
That's probably the biggest distinction right there. When I say I'm online full time too, that's all I mean as well. I'm like, I just don't.
He's a billionaire.
Yeah, I'm a billionaire. That's exactly what it is. No, it's like I make just enough to scrape by to make it to the next month. So I can like every $1,000 in my head, I've talked about this before, is just runway. So I'm like, that was okay. That buys me this many days to make another $1,000. To buy me this many days. Like I'm just trying to stay ahead, especially in a bear market.
Right.
Like just enough to stay ahead and be fine for the most part. But it just gives you the opportunity to see what can happen. Because if you do go back to a job, it's fine, but you lose opportunity because of the time you're giving up, which is tough.
Also, that just goes into like freedom. Like, would you rather? There's that whole saying of like, would you rather get paid like $100,000 a year working at a job, or get paid $50,000 a year and be free and not have to work and work for yourself? Yeah. So it just depends on like the type of person you are.
Sure. You got something, Chris?
No, I actually don't.
Oh,
I was thinking.
It looked like you were about to say something.
No, I don't.
True. Well, you jumped in 2 months in. That's pretty quick. How much of that do you think was? I don't know exactly how long ago I am started, but how much of that is because was there like a run? Like I got in and was full time after 2 months as well. And half of that was because the market picked up right when I got in, and I just happened to have exactly what they're looking for at that moment. And so I just ran with it, and that opened up other opportunities that came so that I wasn't dictated just by the market. But how much of the success came? Because 2 months is like kind of wild.
Right.
That's very quick.
Yeah.
To go full time.
Well, so I had the previous year where I was working at a business and sucking. So it was kind of like the buildup of that, and then finding the right vehicle that actually people were interested in purchasing.
Sure.
And so then I did that, and then that just took off because I had the skill set, I had the drive, I had the motivation. I had already been working for so long, so people were like, oh, this is what she's doing now.
Mm-hmm.
So that helped. But that was actually with the previous company. And then when I joined IAM, we just like funneled from our previous company to IAM very like simultaneously. Like
Wait,
I didn't
Cruz,
have to restart.
Did you bring her to IAM? Or were you guys both of the other
It was a
company?
group.
And you, like, how did that happen?
Other company and then group decision. Was it me or was it you? Who was like, yo, this is what we're doing? I think it was me.
I think I made the decision.
Okay, let me answer. I made the decision.
Yeah.
And then she was like, you know what? I want to do it. And I was like, no, this is what we're doing.
Kiani was the one who introduced him to him first. So we had a friend who told Cruiser about it first. And Cruiser like kind of ignored him a little bit, like for quite a while, for months and months and months.
Dang,
and then
bro.
finally brought it to my attention. And I was like, no, like we're doing something. Why are you trying to look at other things? Like we were working on something, we're working hard. But then finally, I don't know, I guess I gave in. I was like, oh, let's take a look at it. And I learned about trading. I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like I want to try it. And I think that's what like worked out was like he saw I was on board. And so it made it easier for him to say yes. So I technically didn't make the decision, but I think I influenced him going for it.
Should have known you were going to be an influencer.
Talk about the journey. Once you got involved in our current company, talk about like some of the highs, some of the lows, some of the successes, some of the failures, how you went from where you were to where you are. And yeah, maybe some of the big points that stand out, good or bad, along the way.
Oh my God, there's so much.
How about the first one? Like the first.
How about first year?
First
Let's start with
L.
the first.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
First year.
first we could do one per year or something like that.
Or like a year or like first era.
Yeah,
Like I feel like I have like phases where I'm like, this is like phase one, which was this
of
stuff.
Of network marketing or of IAM?
Of IAM.
Oh, of IAM.
Okay.
Because I was like, damn, that first year of network marketing was.
I'll start there then.
Well, that was like one of the best years of my life. It was so bad. Well, that was the year that I was able to quit my job, 2016, in February. And we started making more than I had ever made, even in my job. So I actually like surpassed. I surpassed my income for that. But then literally in July, my grandma passed away. And so that was kind of like just, it didn't matter how much money you're making at that point. Like there was nothing that could keep me like happy and afloat. So yeah, that was 2016, and then 2017 also was kind of trash. My grandpa passed away, and then 2018 was actually when we were introduced to IM. So
rewind. Let's talk about what happened when you went through a little bit of depression with when your grandma passed away, because I feel like that was a big something that you had to overcome, like a huge, probably the biggest thing you've had to overcome since I know you. So talk about that a little bit.
Oh,
I don't have to stay on there too long.
Yeah, I talk a lot about mental health. I actually used to talk about it even more, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like it used to be a huge topic. But I'm gonna tell people why I stopped talking about it first before I get into it, because I don't even know. Is that rain? Oh my God.
Is that a storm?
Yeah, the
Wow.
storms are brewing.
Wow.
Okay, so I used to talk about mental health a lot because I used to struggle with it. I had like severe depression, a lot of issues from like being, I want to say like 13 or 14 until like literally I was like 20, 21 years old.
Once you met me?
But when I started posting about online, number one, I would help a lot of people. So I got a lot of good responses of like, oh, this is amazing. Like, thank you so much for sharing. Like, I love seeing like this overcoming, like you give me hope, all this kind of stuff. But along with that, I had really like people would trauma dump in my DMs. Like, oh my God, this happened to me. Like, how do you get out of this? And I'm like, I'm not a therapist. Yeah. I barely can help myself, you know, like in the midst of it all, I'm just sharing my journey. But then it became like open season for people to just like ask for,
there's no structure,
ask for help. And chaos. I'm like, I really don't know. Like, I'll tell you how I figured it out, but that's about all I can do. So then I was like, oh, I don't even want to post about this anymore because I'm getting so much. It was like negativity too. Like people just always complaining to you and saying all the bad things that are happening in their life. And like, not that I don't want to help them. I totally do, but I was not capable of it. Yeah. So that's why I kind of like stopped posting all about it. And then, now I definitely want to get back into it, but I have a lot more to say. That's not necessarily like mental health based, but more so just like life improvement, personal growth, how to just be a better you overall. So yeah, what was it? What was the question?
What percent? New question. Out of all the people that reached out to you, what percentage of the stuff when people hit you up about mental health stuff was like something that was a genuine problem that they really need help with versus just people just complaining and it really just wasn't a big deal?
Oh,
because I noticed a lot of that. There was a lot of like people who had real problems and actually needed help, but there's also a ton of people that just complain about the stupidest things.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Probably 50-50.
50-50.
Probably 50-50.
That's a lot. That's a lot of complaining. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
I mean,
Nowadays, bro.
but I got it, and I always felt so bad because okay, here's the thing: if you guys are, you know, those people who just like do not respond to DMs and comments and stuff. A lot of the times I felt so bad because I wouldn't respond to these messages, but they were like paragraphs. Like I would be scrolling and having to read all of it. And I felt like if somebody were to message me something so important that I had to respond with an equally as long and emotional and like meaningful message. And that was just so overwhelming. So I ended up just like not responding to some of those.
What's that one message where it's like, where you didn't read the super long message and
you said I'm not reading all that, but I'm sorry for you, bro.
Yeah,
or
no,
he said I'm happy for
yeah.
you, bro, or I'm sorry that happened.
Yeah.
I've never heard of it.
You've never heard of
It's a
it?
Twitter thing, bro.
It's
I
actually
thought it was a
hilarious.
Twitter thing.
It's pretty funny.
It's a big thing. Also,
On the same topic of that kind of, I was watching this video yesterday about this girl of psychology, and she was saying that like if you ever want someone to think that you're paying attention to what they were saying, you just repeat the last 3 words that they said.
you repeat the last 3 things that they said. Genius.
No, literally. And
well,
like,
I was
you
gonna
can
say,
ignore
I
everything.
was gonna say one thing. As almost like a preface. Like, this became a problem for me pretty quickly in my career because the way that I get into stuff, which is typically I find something, I go, oh, that's true, or that's like legit, or that's a thing. And it happened with NFTs, it happened with like Web3, it happened with like Christianity, and then I go and put my like research hat on, and I pretty much just become a hermit for like 6 months, and I do not stop until I've like completely squeezed the entire sponge out, which puts me in a very particular position because I'm brand new still, but I have all this like information that hasn't been totally applied, but it puts me in a different situation than people who are beginners who are 6 months in who have not done the research. So then I lose sight and I lose a grounding of like what people are wondering. And as a content creator, that's a problem because I don't know what they want anymore because I have all this other stuff I'm ready to move on to. And I'm like, I'm ready to ask this question. And they're asking these kind. I'm like, bro, how have you not made this connection? So because there's 6 months of information that you pushed into your head in like a day.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's why.
Wow.
What I was going to say is like with mental health or whatever it is, it's a risky territory in the same way that like I have this secret Christian TikTok account. It's like it's a very dangerous position to be in because no one knows where the other people are at in their journey. So you don't know if their information is going to help you. Like 3 months ago, I would have said, dude, do DMT. That's what you need. You need ayahuasca.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, now I'm sitting here going like, well, maybe, but now I like found Jesus. So like I don't actually need that, but like maybe that is what you need to get to. It's like I don't know anymore. So I was like, I need to like change how I'm looking at this content because I don't know how it's gonna work. That's why I started doing reactions because if I do a reaction, I play a video, everyone's seen the movie for the most part, and then I just give my take on it, and then hopefully I can elaborate. And if they care to watch, they'll get my whole story with it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you had any trouble with that as far as like content creation, because for people who don't know, she's a full-time content creator. She also teaches social media, which we'll talk about full time, and that's what we're going to be mainly talking about is like how you even make that into a career. But I don't know if you had any issues with that or if that ever came up when you were making videos. Like how do you connect with the audience? Were you having issues with connecting?
Okay, so I am so bad. I never think of the audience. I always just will be like, oh, this is a cool video idea. Let me just film it. So with mental health, at least, I would just share whatever I wanted to share. Like I never thought like, oh, this could help somebody. Actually, I did make one video that was like super, super meaningful where I was like, I wanted to share my story in case anyone else out there feels this way, that is okay to feel this way.
How did that do?
That was the response.
What was the response?
It didn't blow up. It didn't blow up. But for the amount of followers I had, it got a lot of really good engagement. Yeah. Because it wasn't like a reel. It was like an actual video to your page and those videos don't get put on the For You page. They just get seen to your audience. But for my audience, it did do really well.
Yeah.
I think it was like the video I called it like I wanted to die or something, like, and it's still on my page if you guys go look. But
that's one of your best videos.
Yeah, that one was like super meaningful. I basically showed a old clip of me like at 16 years old, like really like sat in front of the camera. I was like talking about how I wanted to go and like all these really sad things, and then just like life now and how it gets better. Because I was like, ooh, that's gonna hit. But overall, I feel like when it comes to content creation and like figure out what the people want, I did that for my NFT TikTok, and I think that's why I did really well. Is because I was a beginner, and what I would do, this is so funny, I would write down all of the questions I had, and then I would go find the answers, and then I would create content on the answers in real time. But it was also really hard because I was worried, like, oh my God, people are gonna be able to tell that I don't know anything. Like if they really, like, people would ask me to go on podcasts and stuff, and I'm like, you guys don't realize, like, I'm sharing stuff, but I literally learned this today. I learned the definition of these words yesterday, you know?
And the thing is, if you don't have that line of like, I'm not willing to pretend like I do, like that, not everyone has that though. That's why like the internet is scary, because there's no structure. Like there's no structure, so you can't actually trust anyone. I found this out the hard way when I, bought people's NFTs. Like, oh well, they've done this, they've done that in their past. They know this guy or this girl, like they're gonna for sure make it. And then every single one of them just like flies, just drops. And I was just like, bro, you guys all are basically. It's like when you write a resume, you're like, bro, I worked with designers, with artists from all around the world, when all you really did is like you made a Discord and some random dude who's like a designer, like but you can like make it look so good, but you're just a fraud. And I'm like, the problem with the internet is like you don't know who's who. You don't know who's actually making money from these videos and who's got this side business that he doesn't talk about, or he sells drugs on the side and he just makes videos for fun. He happens to get a couple thousand views in each one, so he's a content creator. I'm like, well, that's not exactly you're not exactly a content creator. You're a cheater, pretending like you're doing all this stuff. And you just don't know. And I've met all sorts of people. Yeah, and it's just easy to fake, and
especially online. Oh my God.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for people who are, because I go to the internet for the most part to find, like, I don't have like mentors in real life so much. I mean, I'd probably say that you guys are probably the closest because you're in person, a few years older than me. You've done some similar things in my industry. But like mentors in the real world, I feel like that's becoming less and less of a thing. People are just relying on YouTubers.
Right. I mean, that's definitely where I'm at right now. Like a lot of the women that I listen to, all YouTube. Yeah. The podcast.
Sure. Who are some people that you really, really like?
Oh my God. So this year started to go down. Well, not this year. It's been over a year. I went down the rabbit hole of like feminism, not feminism. Feminine energy, definitely not feminism. We don't need to get into that.
Feminist LeAnn.
No, let's not put that out there.
Feminine versus masculine energy.
Feminine versus masculine energy, exactly. So I went down the rabbit hole of that, and just long story short, I grew up, basically my parents are divorced. I grew up with my mom, so I grew up with a single mom. So definitely like have more masculine traits. And so I was like, okay, how can I like be more feminine? And I realized that my masculine energy had helped me so much in business. It had taken me to heights that I don't think I would have ever gotten to if I wasn't that way. But I was like, okay, well, I want to be like well-rounded. I want to figure out the pieces that I'm missing, the parts of life that are better when you're, more feminine and more gentle. So started going down that rabbit hole. So now I watch on YouTube. I watch this girl. Her name is Jills Guerin, something like that. She's like super gentle. Even like her voice is so soothing. Another girl, her name is like Rom. Oh gosh, I can't remember her last name.
Top Ramen.
I watch her all the time. If I had my phone, I would look up and give you guys her name. Who else?
Bro really said Top Ramen.
There's a girl. Her name's Lena Lifts. I've been loving her videos too. They're very productive. Cruz's jokes.
Sorry.
No, he's literally an idiot.
It's so funny because when Cruiser makes like stupid jokes, they just like kind of like, we've been together so long that I just am like, oh yeah, haha. Next. Who else?
That's funny, bro.
What about that one person from Instagram for a while you're watching?
Oh yeah, there was this girl. I don't really watch her anymore though.
Oh.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Wouldn't recommend her.
Sure. Well, yeah, I was gonna say.
No, like at this time.
I was gonna say you mentioned your masculine energy pushed you into some career heights. You got some extreme Instagram reels where you're out here walking in front of thousands of people with all these lights, and people are probably like, "Bro, what even is that?" And like, when was that? What is that? Why are you on stage? Like, you had a basketball jersey on with like hundreds of lights on you. Cruz has got like a 3-piece suit. were like, bro, what is that? Like, what was
Yeah.
that? And like, when was that? What was that? And how'd you get there? How you on
Okay.
stage? You know?
So when was that? I mean, that was probably like a year, 2 years ago. We had really big events. Oh, was that right after COVID or
Depends
right
on which
before
event we're
COVID?
talking.
There's
He
events.
referenced multiple.
Yeah, there's
Oh, I
events.
did.
There's
Yeah,
events
yeah,
every
okay.
single year. And for the last few years, I've been able to speak on stage either as a high earner or as an educator. So that has been like the craziest journey. So when I don't know, every year.
How
Where
about the last one?
where
The last one.
the last time I spoke was in
Zurich.
Zurich, Switzerland.
Probably about a
And
year
that
ago.
was like, yeah, it was like literally like a year ago. That was October of last year and or September, something like that. I'm like one of those people that needs to get every little piece of the story right. And I got to speak as an educator for our social media academy that we were launching last year. So it's been around now for a year, and that was when we launched officially on stage. There was like 7,000 people there.
Jeez.
Oh, actually, no, I spoke in Orlando this year as well.
What did you talk about?
This year? Last year?
Yeah, like, what did they ask you on stage? Do you have a long time? Is it keynote? Is it like
So that one we were
panel?
launching the academy. So that was more of like who we are and then just a little brief social media value so that they would want to like check out the academy itself.
Would you have done anything different on any of those events on stage? Is there any way to capitalize? I'm sure some people watching are probably gearing up or thinking about, you're like, yo, I'm probably going to go on stage at some point in the next couple of years. Like, I never thought I was going to go on stage. And then one day I just got an opportunity. And it's kind of random. Like, you're kind of up there and you're like, wow, like I'm used
Remember
to
that
it.
was when you
I've
went to
made
Connecticut?
Yeah. Like, I made so many videos that I was way more okay on stage than I thought I might be. But most people haven't recorded like 30,000 videos in a year. So like, I feel like most people maybe not as comfortable up there. I also knew that there were cameras on. So I knew that even if I messed up, I still had the camera footage. I can still edit it. So it was like, it was going to be fine. I was like, there's 300 people here, but like, there's gonna be way more. They're gonna see this video, like B-roll. I'm not even gonna have my voice.
That's such a different mindset for people.
Yeah, no, I think the complete opposite. I'm like, yo, this is gonna be on the internet forever if a camera's on. That's a great.
It's true. They're both true.
Yeah, no, that's a
true.
great way to think about it.
Two truths can exist.
True.
So like advice for people.
Yeah, like would you have done anything different? Is there any way to capitalize more than you maybe did that you were like, crap, I should have. I don't know. Like maybe I should have tattooed my Instagram handle on my forehead or something like that.
No, I don't think so. I think one of my best skills is public speaking. Maybe not even like with my speaking ability, but just my presence is usually really good. So I don't think I would have changed anything different. I think had a good outfit, had a good speech, actually I probably would have capitalized by taking more content because I don't think I took enough.
I made sure to capitalize because I was like, I might not ever get back on stage again. So I'm going to make sure I get all the footage. Like 20 angles.
That's key.
You are one of the best public speakers I've ever seen. What gives like a couple tips of advice of like what makes you different than other people? Because some people just are not.
Greatest,
I would agree. You guys are both really different energies on stage, but very confident in your energies on stage.
Right. Oh, that's
because I signed up. People don't know, but I signed up to IM not on purpose. Like I just went to their event just for fun, and then by the end I was like, bro,
this is it.
And I was like not expecting to like. I was like impressed at their presentation, and then I like went and like talked to some of the people, and I was like, bro, this is actually kind of fire.
Yeah.
So LeAnn is like she's just a natural at it. For me, I just had to practice over and over and over. Yeah. So what's your advice? Just be born better.
Advice. Be yourself. I think what just gives me the ick when it comes to public speakers is the ones who you're like, I know you don't speak that way in your everyday life. And so it just comes off so just like almost arrogant a little bit, but also just distasteful, people
like fraudy,
who are, like a fraud.
Right?
Yeah. People who are just like fake and you're like, oh, like that just is not. I much rather have somebody who is just authentic and who has a good energy and who is genuinely excited about what they're saying, because it's like if someone's telling you a good story, you don't necessarily need all of the details and facts, but if you're receiving an energy from them, like you can kind of feel what the vibe was like. So
like Matthew McConaughey, like storytellers, they just like can tell stories. Bro.
Um,
Should we let him in?
I'll let him.
Okay.
But
Sick,
why does everybody call him a him?
Oh, is it a
Dog.
her? Bro, Goldie's a girl?
Yes, Goldie's a girl.
Yo! I thought.
But everybody calls
Well, it's
her.
because Cruz told me that all dogs are boys and all cats are
Oh my god.
girls. What's up? Oh, wow, you're drenched. Yo! Got a wet dog all over me now.
Let's see. What's another?
Goldie, go over there. Go over there.
What's another
Bro,
piece
just
of
rolled
advice
over.
for?
Sorry. I wish someone could see this right now. That dog literally just rolled over and Cruz just pulled it down. Yo, you got it? Dude, I'm dead. That was really funny. It's kind of similar with content creation too. Like when you get on YouTube, here we just hold this so you don't trip on it. All right. It's kind of similar with YouTube or TikTok or anything like that. Like you're gonna follow the people who are just unapologetic. I hate using the word unapologetically them because it sounds cringy and it sounds like it's like the thing that people say nowadays. But like you don't follow a YouTuber for any other reason other than they just have extreme value, like Alex Hormozi just drops heat every time no matter what, or they just like you can feel them. It's just like their energy. It's like their actual themness. Because the thing is, on the internet, there's so many versions of the same thing that like you really can get 100 Alex Hormozis. You're only following Alex because A, the value, and then B, it's Alex. There's no other reason, you know. I guess probably the same on stage. Just stage is different. Like some people, like you said, or like Cruz said, just got it. And some people just have to practice.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, it's definitely practice as well. Like I think back because I don't want to say like it came to me so easily. That almost like gives people no hope. But I do remember being in high school and having to speak at assemblies. And they would say like, oh, this is what we need to say. And I would be absolutely terrified. Even now, I actually get pretty scared before I go up on stage. I don't know what I'm scared of. I'm just scared.
It's probably normal.
But then like,
that's good. It's very helpful.
But then you just go up there and you just like, I don't know. I would just go up at the assembly and I would just like say whatever. And then one of my old, what would I call this? Like youth leaders, I guess, at church had me speak one day for Easter. And there was like this lesson. It was like bracelets and then these colors or whatever. And I was probably 15 years old. And I went up in front of the church and did this whole speech. And afterwards, we went to the back and I was like overheating, like so scared. And I told her, I was like, oh my God, I don't even know what I said. I don't even remember what I said. And she was like, oh, well, that was the Holy Spirit speaking through you. And I feel like her telling me that was like, oh, okay, so whenever I'm speaking, it's not even me. So I can trust that what I say is going to be good because the Holy Spirit's going to just take over and do its thing. So I feel like even to this day, I kind of, maybe I don't think of that, but I just know that like what I'm going to say is going to come out right if I have like a genuine intention behind
it's like the verbal expression of who you are. It just comes out.
That's the best piece of speaking advice I've ever heard.
Yeah, that was actually
no,
really
I'm being
good.
so serious. Like that is the best speaking advice I've ever heard.
Bro, it just rolls off the tongue. Like I don't know where the words come from either. They
Right?
just have always just fallen out. Like I don't know. I think it's just your intention. Like if you know the intention, the words just make themselves happen. And I think the Holy Spirit's, well, if you're Christian at least, the Holy Spirit makes sense. Yeah. If you're not Christian, don't understand that, then like
I know she had no idea she was going to change my life.
Explain it. Like I guess like the easiest word for like new age spirituality would be like your manifestation. It would probably just be your manifestation or something.
Subconscious.
It's really just the Holy Spirit. It's fine. I had a question in there. Popped up like a second ago here actually. Oh, I was gonna say, well, like one of the best quotes I ever heard, which I didn't think was gonna happen because I don't even like the guy, was Kamara Usman, who's just like the guy that you said who like appears different on camera when you know that's not how they talk. When he was starting to get like a little bit cocky, he's like Colby Covington was like all over and he was like calling everyone out. So Usman started to like try and be a little bit of a jerk online, and I was like, bro, you're like the nicest dad ever. Like you can't put on like this is fake. This is so like cringy. But then he said something like on his like revenge arc because he like got toppled off. He was like champion, then he like lost. So then he's like got to get a little bit humbled, and then he goes to fight Khamzat, and he's like, people were like, bro, I know you're champion, but like you do not stand a chance. And he says something that was like kind of profound. I can't remember like exactly how he said it, but he says something along the lines of, to be great, you have to dare to be great. And I was like, bro, that is facts. And plus, when you do that and you dare to be great, your standards change. Like I did a 7-day fast so that my standard 3-day fast could become a standard 5-day fast.
Wow. Because
I did the longer one. Same with like public speaking. Like I did a couple like big scary things in high school where I like got in front of a bunch of people and did like a proposal, which was like absurd to think about because there's videos of it. there's like 4,000 people watching this huge proposal happen. But like from that, I'm like, bro, it probably doesn't get scarier than that. Like a 17-year-old kid never
you're
public
putting
spoken in his
yourself out
life.
there.
Well, that was scary. Like I remember like my knees were shaking.
Imagine if she said
No,
no.
the
I know, that'd been
quivering
bad.
knees.
Yeah.
Oh, that gets me. That gets me a lot
But like
too.
because I did that, like the standards like raised automatically, like no matter what. And like even though later when I tried to do public speaking, I was also still nervous, bro. Nothing compared to that. Like that was bizarre. That was
Bro.
bizarre. And probably for you guys have stood in front of 1,000 people. So when you're like, oh, you gotta present, you're like, easy,
Yeah.
W. You know.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Definitely. I love that. I think like that also gives me like I have like it's not a motto, but it's just something I think to myself, just like have the audacity. Like you just gotta have the audacity to like people are like,
True.
oh, like what made you quit your job and want to do internet online marketing full time? Like I just have the audacity. Like what made you think you could do it? You just gotta have the audacity to just
True.
believe that it's yours and you can have it.
One of your favorite life sayings is "There's no rules." What is that? Talk about that. You say it all the time, once a week.
So my sister actually came up with this. So shout out to my sister Mary, who just had a baby.
Yeah, let's go. That was, bro. Let's go, baby.
Yeah.
Bringing life into the
My
world.
sister just had
That is
a
epic.
new daughter, Layla Elena. So shout out to her. I just love her so much. Okay. But my sister, she's the one who came up with it, but it was just that the life has no rules. So we just shortened it to just there's no rules. We would talk about like, oh, can you wear this to this? There's a party happening. Is this an acceptable thing to wear to this party? And Mary would just say, there's no rules. Or we would want to like try out wearing gems like on our face. And I'd be like, is this weird to just like wear it to the mall? And she'd be like, there's no rules. Like there's literally like no rules in life. You can just kind of do whatever and experiment. And when you have that concept of like, there's no rules, it's like, it gives you permission to just do whatever you want. It's like, who's going to tell you otherwise? You know, especially when I became an adult, I'm just like, there's no rules. Like we just do whatever we want. If we wanted to like drive to Oregon right now, we could just go to Oregon. Like there's no rules.
True.
And also we have been blessed with like time freedom as well. So it's like even more than that, there's like no rules.
Well, there's no rules, but there might be consequences though. You know? there probably will be consequences.
If you're an
That's
idiot,
true.
there's rules.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
she has common sense. So she's not gonna do anything.
Plus, like
stupid.
it depends on your attention. If you're like, bro, like Hitler for sure was like, there's no rules. And I'm like, bro, that because it can get toxic if you like take it in extreme directions.
More so into like
anything, you know?
small things that allow you to step outside your comfort zone.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
For that, okay, in that sense, for sure.
It's
100%.
like, is it socially acceptable?
100%.
Is it? Are you gonna get made fun of?
Yeah.
Are these things gonna
just
happen?
basically
like,
don't worry about what other people think.
just there's no rules. Like nobody can tell you how to live your life. Yeah.
Yo, do you want to talk about SMX? So you post a bunch of lifestyle content on Instagram. You're building a personal brand that way, and then you also get some brand deals and partnership stuff through that. But then you also have like a day job, I guess you would call it, but it's just content creation for like an agency. I guess I don't know how you describe it. How would you describe what you do at SMX and what you do with IM Academy?
Oh, okay. So for SMX, essentially, I'm an educator, so I get to teach to all of our students online every Monday and Tuesday at 1 p.m. PST for about an hour, 30 minutes to an hour, and I train on like literally anything you can think of. And actually, the more weeks go on, the more I find more things that I can train on and I can teach, because social media is an obscene realm of opportunity and possibility. And there are so many different routes that you can go to make money. Like just with posting on Instagram, I could show you 7 to 10 different ways that you can make money. But it's just about picking one. So once people come in and they're a student, I help them set their goals, figure out which direction they want to go with that, and then how to curate content that can fit within that, piece of income that they're looking for, right? Because if your goal is to get brand deals, then I can teach you how to create content using other brands that's going to attract. Then I'll teach you how to make a portfolio so that you can send it out to brands. Then I'll teach you how to email brands and actually write the emails to get those brand deals. Then I'll teach you how to make really quality content to perform better. So it's like that would be one route. And then there's also, like the UGC route, or there is the streaming route, or there is just like the make the money from the specific platform route. But that is what I teach every single week. And it's usually something different every week. Now, also on Mondays, I have a session called the Weekly Trend Report, which is basically where I take all of the things that happen within the last like 7 days, and I put them and I link them so that people can kind of catch up without having to scroll. I think one of the most difficult parts about being an influencer or being a content creator or being somebody that has to do marketing is that you have to stay on top of trends, which means that you have to scroll a lot.
Yeah,
And the doom scroll is not a fun place to be.
Yeah,
Don't recommend it. So I essentially doom scroll for everybody else, and I find which sounds are trending, which filters are trending, what's happening in the news that could like be influenced by people's content. Like when the Barbie movie is coming out, okay, how can you take your brand and participate in that trend? Or how can you take the seasons right now that we're in and create content off of it? So just like random world events that I'll go over, and that's every Monday session. So that's pretty much what I do. I'll do side trainings for people. I also do audits, which means that if you have like an account and you're like, how can I improve this? You send it in. I actually have a link in my bio for auditing.
Nice.
And I'll just review accounts every couple months to make sure people are on track. So that's what I do.
For people that have a super busy schedule, they have work, they have kids, to be able to hop on your Monday live session and just get all the trending sounds. Obviously, there's new trends every single week, and be completely set up for the entire week is super helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. And plus, different styles of content fit different people better, for sure. Like I've been able to make my money through UGC. Like I'm trying to think of like all the different ways online I've made money. Like I would say UGC, and then the streams have been the most profitable for me. But the streams are because that pretty much relies on a sponsorship, which relies on attention. It's like if you can't pull the attention, you don't get the sponsorship. And for me, because a lot of it's based on market for that kind of consistent, where it's like I'm gonna put a stream up and I don't want it to be dictated by the title, because I don't know if it's going to hit. So I can't charge a company $1,000 to sponsor something if I don't know that I'm going to get this much results for them, kind of thing. But like when I was in the bull market, and when I was doing my podcast and interviews, I was like, look, you're going to get about this much from it no matter what we do. So like I can put a baseline like monthly charge on it. But streaming is very difficult. Like it's been like 2 years before I got anything out of that podcast. And then UGC was like same thing. I had to make like 2,000 videos before a single paid video was made. For me specifically, and probably because I was just not as good at creating content as I thought I was. Like there's a line in Game of Thrones where Cersei Lannister,
I love
or Tywin Lannister, his the dad who's like in charge of the Lannister family. Cersei's like, you're not like giving me this and that, and he's like, look, I don't not trust you because you're a woman, which is what you're saying. I don't trust you because you're not as smart as you think you are. And I remember like watching that, I was like, bro, it's so true. But then I was like, bro, I think I'm not getting the things I want because maybe I'm not as good at creating content as I think I am. Part of me is like blinded because I like it so much that like no matter what I put out, I'm like, that's pretty good. Like some people hate it. Some people put out art and they hate it. That is
so rare though. I feel like it's usually the opposite of people like think they're trash.
A lot of
like they don't put stuff out because they don't think it's good enough.
Oh, I see.
Versus like putting it out and it not being good enough.
Really?
A lot of people like overthink that their stuff is way too good, and a lot of people just don't think they're good enough. Rarely do people have a good judgment of where they really are.
It's so weird because like a video will do well, and I'm like, bro, like of course that video did well. But then I'm like, okay, so if you knew that, then like why doesn't the next video do as well? It's like, bro. Yeah. So this to me is random, bro. It's really, really difficult. Like you either have to spend all your time doing it yourself, or you, like you said, you sign up with someone who's gonna help you. And I always did it like the YouTube way, which is very unstructured. So it probably took longer. It maybe gave me some more like flexibility to like do all the things, and like I can have autonomy with everything. But I think there's some good things that come from structure in some ways, you know.
Sure. Someone a lot of time.
Someone who's never made $1 from social media and maybe doesn't have a lot of money, doesn't have a lot of time. What is the best way for them to start making money out of all the different ways through social media, in your opinion?
I mean, how I did it through network marketing. I feel like that was like
that's probably true.
The most simple. Like you find a company that has a product that you like, you partner with the company and you promote the product and people can buy it from you on social media. And you get to create whatever content you want. You can talk about it every single day. And you don't have to ship anything. You don't have to take care of any of the sales. Like you literally just get to focus on creating the content and promoting the link. Like
Yeah.
that is probably the easiest, most simple way that I would recommend starting. The margins might be a little lower than if you had your own product, but the workload, I think, is less.
I think people don't know how much it is to start a business and like how much effort it takes to create a website, create a logo, create a business bank account, create a good product or service, be able to ship the products and services.
Now that you say that, I'm laughing.
Have some type of a legal team in case something goes wrong, this or that. I can give you 100 different examples, but I think people who have never started a business drastically underestimate how much going to start a business can be effortless.
I mean, if you just want like a freaking Squarespace website, it's $30 a month.
Yeah.
Like how much is, a lot of marketing companies, maybe $150. Like, and all of the shipping is taken care of. Like all of the, just like you said, like the back end, the contracts, the legality, like it's
not easy.
It's
like half and half. Like it's difficult, but like for me, it's never been like a question of like there's never been a question. It's just like, bro, but like this is what I want. Therefore, it's like Alex Ramosi kind of. It's just
for sure. You'll figure it out.
Like there's no other way. Like bro, if I want to just be paid to speak and stuff on camera or something, if that's like the eventual goal, it's a pretty ridiculously privileged position to be in. Which means A, you either get lucky or you build up a lot of stuff to the point where it's just impossible not to get to that point. But there's just a bunch of things involved. Like what you're saying with the business, there's like all these LLC things and this and that. But I think you just have to go one at a time. And then eventually you'll hit the LLC button or the LLC like block and you're like, bro, like this sucks. and it sucked. And it was actually awful. And I paid a lot of money. And I don't even know if I did it right still.
Yeah.
Like, I have it, but I check the
bro.
LLC stuff so like not that often that I'm kind of like, it's probably fine, right? Like as long as I'm paying for it every year and I get the charge, like I still own it, right? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, all right.
That's funny.
Right. But like I don't actually know. But it's also like, bro, once I need to worry about it, like the things will happen, and then I'll just worry about it, and I'll just get through it. It's gonna suck, but whatever.
One of your biggest sayings is everything is figure outable.
Yes.
That's a great saying.
And I'd love
for I have a lot of good sayings.
I'd love for you to talk about that because sometimes I'll be struggling with something and LeAnn will just come over there and be like, done. And I'm like, bro, how'd you do that?
When was the last time I did that for you guys? It was funny.
No, I remember talking about it though, that we were talking about, pretty sure that quote specifically, it was something that you were just like, bro, just give me the thing. I think it was, I don't know what it was.
Well, yeah, everything is figure outable. I don't know where I learned that. I don't know when it came about. I just know that I have like this deep rooted belief that like I can do anything, and that like I don't know. Do you think it came
from a background of church where you like knew that you had the creator behind you, so you were like, bro, you got this.
That is so beautiful, but I don't think so.
Where does it come from?
I didn't have church, so I also had that, and it wasn't from that.
I think it actually came from my older sister and my mom and my grandma. Like they told me my entire life, like, you're good at everything. Like LeAnn's a star. Like LeAnn is literally the best at everything she does. And like when you were told that so long or so often for so long, like you believe it. So I go into everything thinking like I'm gonna be the best at it. Like there's nothing that I can't do. Like tried snowboarding. They took me to the top of the freaking mountain, and I went down. Like I think they did the bunny hills like twice, and then they took me to the top of the mountain. Like the hard part of like. What was it? It wasn't even Snoqualmie. It was the other mountain, Stevens Pass or something. And it was like, I didn't realize it was going to be hard, but we went to the top and I went down and I told him, I was like, just let me go. Like, let me figure it out. They went all the way down, came back up and met me, and I was still going down.
Dang.
But I just like, I ended up figuring it out, and I was good at it. And I don't know. There's like,
bro, that's interesting. I had the opposite upbringing, but same conclusion eventually.
Wow.
Just different ways, I guess. It was just like, bro, you're a loser. It's like you're an Asian loser who's like lame. That was like the 3 themes growing up until like 18, probably.
Well, I think also there's not like being told that you're good at everything. It's also difficult because then there's so much pressure. There's so much pressure
I didn't have pressure
to be good at everything. Yeah. It's like you can't fail. You never want to fail. You never want to disappoint. You never want to.
Yeah.
So
True.
that's a little bit difficult, but I will say I don't think that affected me too much.
Mhm.
Like I think that other people had it worse because there was like consequences. For me, there was no consequences. Like if I did bad, it was just like LeAnn's great at everything, and if
I
I'm
see.
not, it's like, oh, it's a fluke.
Honestly, Gary Vee talks about that a lot. How
Okay.
his mom made him when he like would open the door for someone and hold the door open, that his mom would make him feel like he was the best person on the planet.
To
And
reinforce that.
Yes,
Positive
the
reinforcement.
positive reinforcement for the good things,
That's good.
and the negative reinforcement for the bad things. That is the best
Yeah.
parenting advice.
I got
ever.
really
Wow.
strong negative
ready?
reinforcement.
Yo, no, seriously though,
Bro.
associating massive pleasure
Yeah.
to whatever you want your kid to do, and then massive pain to whatever you
Bro.
don't want them to do, that is the key to
That is
parenting.
That is smart. My dad,
Not
Although I'm
massive
not a
my
parent,
dad
so-
absolutely roasted me to the point where like I will never be able to forget it. He was like,
Oh, God.
my dad basically like I was like in middle school probably or like lower school. I was young, but I basically he was out of a meeting and he was talking to some business person or whatever. He was like in a meeting where he was talking to some
Oh, no.
person, and I'm like all the other side of the campus because I was ready to go home, bro. It was like 6 o'clock. I'm like, bro, he was a teacher at my school, and I was like, bro, let's go, like come on.
He was
like,
a
I'm
teacher
weird.
at your high school?
He was a teacher at the school I was at. But I was like,
Wow.
I was young. But I'm like yelling at him, like, hurry up, bro. Like, I just figured he was talking to his friend or something. I wasn't thinking. But he was talking to someone I guess was important. But he basically like was pissed because he was like, bro, that's like a respect and like honor thing. You don't just like scream at me when I'm talking to another person and like act like this piece of shit. Basically, he's like, what are you talking about? So he basically like grabs me by the butt of the neck and like brings you back to the classroom. And he was just like, I've never felt that level of just like. It probably disappointing is probably the closest I can think of from him that he was trying to exude to me was like that is just not cool at all. And he basically like made me write like a million
Poor little
times.
Cade.
I had to write on like the chalkboard. Like,
No!
this is
Oh,
wrong. I had to
Oh,
write
God.
a letter to the
Oh.
person he was talking to and hand deliver it to them and had this whole thing.
No.
But he made such an extreme big deal that I was like, bro,
Never doing that
wow.
again.
Like I was like, hey, either you need to chill or I was very wrong. Was
Oh,
basically like the
wow.
conclusions. But I think you're right. There's like reinforcement when it matters is like super important. And if you're a like one of those parents who just goes over everything and it's like, yeah, whatever, like that's fine. But your kid's either gonna learn the hard way that there are consequences to everything in life, or they're gonna not. They're gonna turn to like that annoying person
Mhm.
who's just who like turns onto oncoming traffic because they need to turn left right now. They're like, bro, I gotta turn right now. I don't care about anyone else. Like those are the kind of people that have no boundaries growing up because
Oh
they
my
just
God,
don't
we
care.
could totally talk about like parenting tactics because I too had to write many letters. In fact, my mom, I think I had a notebook where I don't remember. I don't remember
What do
what
you
I
To
did.
who?
Well, no, it was a letter. It wasn't a letter. It was like a notebook, and I had to rewrite the same sentence like for like 7 pages of like, I will not do this.
Oh, you got
Like,
punished.
whatever.
Punishment?
Yeah.
Oh, wow,
Like, what are these
Dang.
parenting tactics?
bro.
Who invented
I think
these?
it's smart.
Mom, where did you get this?
It's just like the energy. Like they just need to know when something's very not cool and very cool.
Yeah.
You know, it's like what you wish you could do to your dog when they like start barking. You're like, bro, I wish there was a way that I could permanently tell you that this is not cool. But because dogs like, well, some dogs are just some dogs are like Goldie, and they're gonna poop in the house no matter what you do. But some kids are like willing to learn. But I also think it's like an intention thing. Like I was always willing to do whatever if I thought it was right. So I think like especially like morals or something like that needs to be like a core tenet in the home probably. And that's probably, I mean, not just parenting, just like in general. If you're an adult who can't get your shit together,
Yeah.
So it probably comes down to that.
I think I turned out okay. So
Yeah.
Mom, you know, right?
Yeah, right. Let's switch. Let's switch it up. I want to talk about traveling. Is that cool?
Ooh.
Yes.
Cool.
Let's do it.
And talk about the crazy year where you took a ton of different flights, because that's crazy. You took more flights in a year than some people in their lifetime. which
Yeah,
is
I don't
actually
even
insane.
know. I
How
don't
many?
even know what year that was. Was that 2019?
I don't know exactly the year.
I
But
took 80 flights.
Bro,
Yeah.
that's more than I think I've ever flown in my
Yeah.
life.
I mean, if you think about it, 52 weeks in a year. I was taking about 2 flights a week.
Where
Like,
are you going?
If you looked at my and
Bro was flying down the street.
Your phone
Jenny go to Starbucks. I get on the flight. I'm
your
getting on
phone
the flight.
actually tracks your flights as well.
It does.
Somehow, I don't remember, but I remember getting like a notification pop up and it
Wow.
said your weekly flight time, because you know it tracks like your screen time. It basically was tracking a flight time somehow, and it said 11 hours per week. I was like, geez.
Where?
Mm.
What?
So where did I go?
Where are you going?
Why? Like, what were you doing, bro?
Gosh, that was so
Honestly,
long
you're
ago.
doing
I
everything.
don't know where I went.
She's
Were
doing
you going
everything.
too?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
sometimes.
Half
Bruh.
So she was like doing business stuff, and then she was doing like traveling with her friends stuff. It was.
Yeah, I got to
it was
go
a
to.
bunch
I
of
went to Chile with like my dad.
family stuff.
So what did you learn about life? You literally stepped out of the matrix and flew around it for a
Right.
year. You flew around the matrix instead
Oh
of
God!
participating.
I mean,
So
I was
what'd
just
you learn?
talking about this with my dad this morning because my dad actually went to Ecuador this morning, and I take him to the airport freaking 4 a.m. So that was this morning. But we were talking just about how like what like life is and traveling and getting to go experience other cultures and places and see the world. There's just very little that I enjoy more.
Yeah.
How does one
Yeah, that was my next
How does
question,
one
Jay.
afford
I hear
that?
you. And also GT, we do need a podcast studio soon. Eventually they'll move and we can get that going.
Ooh,
We're
yeah.
gonna get it. We'll get it going.
We'll get it going. All right, how does someone afford that, by the way?
Through online marketing, through network marketing.
Were some of the trips sponsored? Like were you paying for each flight yourself, or were some of them covered for you?
No, they were mostly half and half.
Dang,
half
paid
and
for
half.
40 flights. Bro, that's wild. Okay, so yeah, so what'd you learn? You learned that life's not exactly what we think, obviously, because it can change.
People's perspective is so limited because they live in this little version of their reality and they
Mhm.
don't see anything else, and so they think that's how it is everywhere. And
It's
their
not
perspective
like,
is so limited
and
on everything.
And I don't want to be the one who like just everyone always says like, oh, we're so privileged here and this and that, but like we are. And that's not even what I have seen. It's just when you get to travel more, you get to meet new people.
Yeah.
Like just the people that I've met, the things that I've seen, the history, like seeing history of the world. Like here in Washington, what history? Like there's no
Starbucks.
I'm not saying that there's no history.
Starbucks
Like,
was created in Washington.
like when we went to Barcelona last year and I got to see just all of these landmarks that were just so incredible. It's like, how could you ever not? Or also, this is just like a weird point of view, but I just don't understand people who don't want to travel. Like, how could you know that the Eiffel Tower exists and never want to see it sparkle in person? How could you know that the Great Wall of China was built and not want to go walk on it? Like, and I've never been there, but
I think the go-to
go.
response to that is, well, I've got kids and I've got to pay this and I got to pay that. So I think I think the other angles, they say they don't have the luxury for it. But my rebuttal to that is like, yeah, but you still want to. So like in my head, I'm like, so that should still be like, if that was a North Star for you, it would probably make this part of your life a little bit more enjoyable. Maybe it doesn't, but in my head, I feel like it would. Like that's kind of why I probably eventually came to God, was like, you're always chasing something that's slightly outside of the scope of reality, and you never really have a word for it, and there's never structure for it, but there's always something you're chasing so slightly above the reality, meaning that you're able to grasp in reality.
Yeah. Well, also reality. people don't even believe that they can have things. Like, just like the same thing. Like, I had the audacity to say, I want to go to all these places, so I'm going to go do it. I'm going to figure out a way to do it. Versus some people are like, oh, I can't afford it. I'm like, dude, you can. Like, I remember I was talking to somebody last year about Vegas or something who lives here. Yeah. And they were like, oh, like maybe I'll do it when I'm older. Like Vegas? I'm like, guys, we're 20 years old. What do you mean like older? Like you're going to be 50 years old. Like, do you know how cheap it is? No, if you fly freaking Spirit, just do it. Yeah. Just fly Spirit. It's trash, but
don't do it. No, don't do it.
No, maybe not Spirit.
I have done it and it's fine. I mean, I can sleep like a baby on planes though. But go
maybe
fly.
They think the trip is more expensive than it is.
It's $80 to fly. If you go Spirit, literally round trip, just go there. Go to one of those cheap hotels, $80 a night. Like, save up for a weekend. Like, go do some extra side hustles, save up for the trip, and give yourself experiences. Because if you were just living to work and then sleeping and then waking up to work and then, like, I can't imagine, like, how miserable you would be. There's nothing to look forward to at that point.
You have no choice but to aim, like, for something like that. Or, like, to aim to live, you know? Like, you have no choice. Like, if you don't, like, you don't have to, but you're like, yeah, but like, if there's nothing after what you're doing and what you're doing you hate, or it's terrible or something, then like it's not going to get better once you are out of that situation. You're just going to find another thing to latch that mindset to, and then you're just going to move on. Actually, Jackson says when I retire, you know, I watched a video of these it was like older people, and they're like, what's the one thing you would change about your life if you could? And they're like, I would have traveled broke. They were like, that's what I would say. They were rich now, and they're like, I would have traveled broke because like I can do all the things now, and I can do exactly how I want to travel. I watched
that same video.
It's a great video. I may have. But she was just like, it doesn't. She's like, you think it won't be this when you get there because you don't have enough money, but you will find other things that come from it. Like I traveled in my car and I had literally no money, but I lived in my car for 6 months and I traveled around the country. Even with no money, it was still a crazy experience. I didn't get the experience of getting out, be able to rent kayaks everywhere I went and like do all the side gigs and excursions and stuff. But like being out there and like making just enough money to pay for gas to get to the next place and then DoorDash for 12 hours straight so I could go to the next place and that, you still have an experience that's very different from the one you're at. Right. And I just feel like you said something that was good a few weeks ago when we were moving. It was something about a truck that I wanted to get. I think it was the Raptor, and I was like, "It's so expensive." You're like, "No, it's not."
It's a mindset.
You're like, it's a mindset, which is like funny, but it's also true because if you just stop thinking like that, it will affect everything. Because like since that conversation, probably 10 separate times more than I did last year, have I just like kind of been like, how much do trucks cost actually?
Good.
Like, like, could I just get this one instead? Like, what if I just didn't get a Raptor and I got this one like a few years earlier? Like, what if I did this and traded my way here? But like that, like slight open door.
Look, you're figuring it out. That's fire.
That's the move.
I love that.
The figuring out of everything, bro.
No, you can do it. And also, like when it comes to traveling with that lady, she was saying like you get a whole different experience when you travel without money than you do like with money. And I've done both. I've done both. We traveled where we were tight. We were shoving people into hotel rooms so that we could like
slept in the
experience
bathtub.
these things.
Bro, what?
And then we've also traveled and lived in like or stayed in like really nice hotels and like done everything we wanted to do while we were in that location. So we've done both. But the lady was saying that like if you're traveling when you're broke, you get other experiences that you don't get when you're wealthy. Because why would you take like one time we didn't have money to get an Uber, so we took like the train in one of these European countries. Like we would have never taken the train and got to experience the underground world of this whole cool. And I'm like,
it makes for better stories.
Yeah, I'm like romanticizing that, and we would have never got that if we were just like, oh, let's just Uber, you know. So even that is like just you'll get different experiences. Like don't wait, you can also do it later, like better, but still do it now.
Dude, with more money too, I've noticed that when you have more money, you pay for exclusivity, which is fine. But like exclusivity by definition is isolation from other experiences that you might like. Instead of if I went to a 3-star hotel and then got in the hot tub, I might meet another random person or family in that hot tub. But if I get a 5-star one, I get like my own this, my own that. I'm not going to go to that thing, and you might not have that experience. Like I met this guy named Jamel when I came to Washington. Stayed in like a hostel for like $18 a night or something, and I met this dude named Jamel. He's just in the bunk next to me, and then him and I just like the entire week were just together instead of me being alone the whole time. And then instead of me not going to Olympic National Park, I think it was either I had a car or he didn't have a car, but I wasn't going to go either way. Then he was like, bro, I wish you could go to the national park. And I was like, we should just go. And so we literally just went right there. We just were like, where's your stuff? And he was like, right there. And he's like, grab your bag. And we just got in the car and drove there and like had this entire experience. I feel like filmed the whole extra video. And I was like, dude, that's lit. I was like, that's actually lit. And that costed $20 for gas or whatever it was. But I was like, yo, we like drove back that same day and we were like, did that just happen? Like, did we just drive to the park and like trudge around and climb a mountain in snow and like come back and like what even happened? We were like, I don't know. It's just random stuff. Like,
that's also like not only that, but that's like a way of life that some people God, it's like positivity. Like that's a positivity thing. How some people look at things and they're like, oh, this is an opportunity, or some people look at these and this is like, oh, this is just not for me, I guess.
Give people 3 big, doesn't have to be 3, however many you want. A couple big travel hacks so that they could travel for super, super cheap.
Ooh, travel hacks. You know I got those. Okay, step 1 is figure out where you live. All right, wherever you live, find the airline that is the hub for that location. And if you live in like a small city, then this may be a little bit more difficult, but try to like for Seattle here, we have Alaska Airlines. That's the hub here. Okay. And then we also have Delta. For LA, the hub is probably Delta. For Dallas, places in Texas, I think it's like American Airlines. For Atlanta, it's Delta. For Miami, it's I don't know what the one is for Miami. We were flying all kinds of airlines there. But basically find that one and then get a credit card for that airline. So because that's most likely going to be the airline that you take because it is the hub, which means it's going to have the cheapest flights out of that location. So get the credit card for that airline. And then anytime you book it, you use your credit card for that airline and you get double the points. So you're using your credit card for everyday hacks as well. So like pay all of your bills with the credit card and then just funnel your your debit card or your what am I trying to say? Your
account?
checking. What am I gonna think of? Then just follow your checking account money into the credit card. So then you're getting all those points added up that you wouldn't if you just paid with the debit card. Like I don't pay anything with the debit card. I would never, because I'm losing out on money that I get to make from all of these exclusive benefits. So pay for everything with the credit card as often as you can if you can be responsible with it. Then you'll also be adding up those points. So all of those points will get you free flights for that airline to like wherever it is you want to go. So I mean, my last Disney trip that I went on was free to fly there because I had points, and Seattle to LA is like really, really short. So it's like 6,000 miles and I have like 25,000 miles. So I could go there and back as many times as we need.
How many like trips would you need to take, or how many miles are you looking to get a free plane ticket? Maybe it's like a 5-hour plane ticket that you want to get for free. Is that going to take me like 10 years to build up to, or is that something that can be done in a few flights? Or
it depends on how much money you spend on your credit card.
Like if you spend like $5,000 on travel, so like say you.
No, she's saying the credit card for anything.
Yeah, you pay you use the credit card for anything, and then you get double points if you use it for your travel.
Okay. So get an Alaskan Airlines credit card
and use that
for all your stuff,
anything,
and the flights.
Yeah.
And you get points for that.
Yeah.
Even non-airline.
Yeah.
You get points for using like at a grocery
store, gas, everywhere.
Nice.
It all adds towards your flight benefits, your flight points. And then also, so that's just like a flight hack. When it comes to actually booking flights, the hack I always use is use your computer in incognito mode so that they can't track what you're searching, because when they see what you're searching, they're going to up the prices. If you're always checking Seattle to LA, like every single day, they're going to be like, hey, this person is desperate need of these flights. We're just going to increase it. And
who is doing that?
No, you didn't know that?
Who is doing that?
The airlines.
Yeah.
Bro.
It's insane.
Who at the airline?
Yeah.
I want another name. What the heck?
Yeah, no.
People
so
do that?
I've saved, I mean, it's not like a huge difference, but I've saved like $40 on like a $200 flight because I just went incognito mode instead.
Bro, these people make NFT scammers look generous. That is crazy.
Yeah, so that one's another little hack.
Bro, I'm mind blown right now. I cannot believe that someone's job is to raise prices on like.
I think it's automatic. I don't think it's like.
Oh my gosh.
What's the best website
to book flights? Google Flights. Google Flights shows you all of the flights there. What I recommend too is usually the round trip flight's going to be cheaper than if you book one way to another way.
That's been my experience too.
Okay, so like a lot of people are like, oh, I will just book one way and then book another way. It's going to be cheaper just to book the round trip. However, if you're doing a multi-stop, so if you're flying from like Seattle to LA to Portland to Arizona, which we used to do a lot, then you can also do that. And there's a multi-trip option, which allows you to go in. And for that, if your schedule is flexible, just Google Seattle to LA and then open another tab, LA to Sacramento or whatever. And then you find the cheapest day for that flight. And then you can book them into the multi-trip ticket.
I get so stressed
look them up
because if
individually.
like one of those flights gets messed up, then you're like screwed. I get nervous. Like a multi-stop. If I don't buy it through a multi-stop like thing, like if I don't buy them all at once, I'm worried that if one flight gets messed up in that, if I buy 3.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You know,
well,
I'd just be so nervous about that.
Well, no, I'm saying on different days, not like in one day. Like if I'm going to Seattle, LA, I'm staying in LA for 3 days.
But then if you have a flight that, okay. Got it.
Yeah, not like a multi-stop in one day, like a layover. No, not layovers.
True.
I don't do that.
True. Nice. That was gonna be my next question, was round trip versus one way. So I guess you answered that question, which is solid.
Yeah. And then what's another hack? Another hack would be TLX. Obviously, we have a membership that gives you access to all of the cheapest hotels, all of the cheapest like excursions and stuff. And so when we went to Europe, we used TLX and we saved $600 just on hotels. And every hotel we got through the TLX membership was upgraded. So we had top floor for every hotel we stayed at.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Yeah, we had top floor and they upgraded us to the nicest suite. I mean, the hotels aren't as nice.
You made a video I was going to ask about where you said you asked for an upgrade when you got there and they just gave it to you. And I was like, bro, I've always wanted to try that, but I've never done it. I've also wanted to do it on a plane because my dad did that on a plane and got first class. I was like, you got first class? He was like, I just asked them. And I was like, What?
Yes. No, that is also have the audacity. Like
Yeah.
my
You're really
dad,
good at this.
my
You're
dad
really good at
taught
this.
me
I would never do
from a
it.
young age. He said, if
I
you
feel
do
bad
not,
sometimes. I don't want to ask.
no, he said, if you don't ask, the answer is always no.
Yeah, that's true.
So
That's facts.
now I'm like,
So-
why not? Why not? It doesn't hurt to ask. It's not like these guys want to help out people. Like imagine they're
True.
making somebody's day. Like
Yeah.
I know that guy who gave us the upgrade was probably like so pleased that he could. And if they can't, they just say no. And then the answer was
Yeah.
already no beforehand. So you lose literally nothing. But I've gotten
Right
so
about
many
that.
upgrades all the time.
That's a very good perspective in life.
Yeah.
Where like you just don't have like when you're at a point where you can get yourself to think that you don't have anything to lose and you only have something to gain from a situation. It's a very helpful life perspective in general.
I agree. Do you have any favorite food spots in popular areas that people fly to a lot? That you're like, bro, you should go there.
I'm not
Oh,
a foodie.
yeah.
You're not a foodie?
Not a foodie
So
guy.
you're a foodie?
She's so picky.
Are you-
so
I
her-
like Olive Garden, Red Robin,
Olive Garden's pretty solid. Red Robin.
Applebee's,
Applebee's. Bro, what are you talking?
She only
BJ's.
eats chicken.
That's about it.
Like,
That's why
you know.
it's so funny. I always tell people, I'm like, don't invite me out to eat, you guys.
Dude, bro,
'Cause you
start
will
with
not-
Olive Garden.
I
I
will
had
not
hope.
enjoy it. I will not.
All right, seriously. I got a good question.
So no.
Bro said Applebee's.
I got a good question.
That's wild.
Two-part question. Number one, what was your favorite trip that you've been on or coolest trip that you've been on? Number two, the second part is where do you want to go that you need to go? It's on your bucket list, but you just haven't been yet.
Okay. I'm torn because our Europe trip was so cool. Like roaming through the streets of Rome on that little scooter.
The Lime scooters, we
Listening-
were mobbing.
Listening
lit?
to Lizzie
Yeah.
McGuire, like
Okay.
it was iconic. There's few things that have topped that. However, probably my favorite trip was also Iceland. We went to Iceland and we got to go into the Blue Lagoon, and it was so amazing. It was so beautiful. Like we got to do the face masks inside the Blue Lagoon, and it was just really cool. Like I had never seen anything like it. It was like I was in a movie. We were on like a different Earth, like a different place.
The buffet was crazy.
Oh yeah, there
too.
was like this morning buffet.
Bro, they
we
had
had-
literally
Morning
everything.
buffets are actually the best thing
Yeah,
ever.
but it was like a bougie buffet. I mean, that hotel.
show you.
Poached eggs level kind of thing.
The
Bro,
the hotel we
if they
stayed
have
at.
poached eggs, I'm like, all right.
I want to say the hotel was $600 a night. So
That
it's
is
like
so
probably like
much.
tax or something, but it was
You looking
it
for
was
it?
luxurious.
Yeah, I'm gonna find it.
Dude.
I'm gonna find
So-
this picture of the food.
So that one was probably my face mask and all.
Oh, they went to Iceland.
That was probably one of my favorite, and then also I really liked Europe. And then what was the other question you said?
Where have you not gone?
Oh, where have I not gone that I want to go to? Okay, I really, really want to go to Japan.
Let's go.
My
Let's
little
go.
little Japanese guys.
That's why we're here to promote
The Japan trip.
Japan.
Um,
Let's go, baby.
Like I want to
Asia.
go. I want to do that thing where you get to like dress up in the Mario Kart outfits and you get to like drive the go karts in
Wait,
the streets.
what?
Of
I
Japan.
don't know these things because I always travel with my mom, and so we always did like family type of
Oh, no.
stuff, you know.
He goes along, and I make sure that we get the coolest.
That's what I need to. I need to go with like friends. That way, it's like I have a different kind of experience. 'Cause, like,
Yeah.
I mean, traveling with my mom is lit in Japan because she's like Japanese.
Well,
and
she knows. She probably
She knows
gets,
the
like,
place to go, but she doesn't
Mhm.
like want to go go kart. She doesn't want to do that.
Right. They're
So-
like the extra activities
Yeah,
that are.
like, she's trying to go to dinner.
You're telling you,
And, like,
you're
walk
telling
around.
us that your mom doesn't want to dress up like Mario and drive a go kart,
She would
throw
probably do it.
bananas and
She
turtle
would do it,
shells.
bro, but I would have to make her go for that to happen. So like, I wouldn't be able to find it. Like, I would probably.
No,
need-
that.
We would need LeAnn to do that part because I can't find those.
So there's that. I also want to go to Disneyland in Japan.
Oh,
I also want to go
bro,
to.
yeah.
They have these like pods you can stay in.
Mm.
Like
I've seen that.
you know, I
I've
want to
seen that.
experience that.
It's like a one
It's
person
not
pod.
luxurious, but it looks cool.
cool.
You know, it's like futuristic.
It's like a one person
So
thing, right?
Japan. I also want to go to. Yeah, it is.
Like Tokyo, or do you mean like the countryside, or all of it?
All of
Like,
it.
what country are you trying to take?
Probably like a
like-
couple different places.
Like a couple weeks or like a month? Like how long are you trying to travel to Japan?
Maybe like a week.
Sure.
Yeah.
Dude, that'd be dope.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I have like enough points for an international trip too. I might,
Let's do
I might have enough
it.
points.
I also want to go to Dubai. I want to see my bestie. Also Dubai, like
That would
just
be cool.
is crazy.
Trying to spend
and-
$1,000 a night there.
I also want to go to like the Philippines. Yeah,
Sure. So Asia.
there's a lot
Asia.
more places I want to.
Yeah, yeah.
I haven't really tapped into Asia yet.
Sure.
So
I got a couple questions here too. Some rapid fire style. There's a couple up here
Cool.
that I saw I wanted to ask. Let's see. Oh, I asked the food one. There was one up here, I thought. I guess there's not.
we've been going for an hour and 9 minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're gonna wrap up here a little bit, but oh, it was these were the ones. So, do you have a favorite TV show? You watch a lot of shows and movies. You like Disney?
Oh
Your
God,
favorite
my
show?
favorite TV show. That's hard. I have
top
like
three?
Yeah,
I have
list a
like
few.
I have like a new
few.
favorite TV show every year. Okay, my first ever favorite TV show was One Tree Hill.
I've never seen that, but everyone talks about it.
It's iconic.
Have you seen it?
But I actually tried to rewatch it and it was giving me like
seen
negative
a couple
vibes.
episodes.
So I don't know.
Negative vibes.
Like maybe I watched it during like a dark time in my life, but I like rewatched it like, oh, this is too much.
True.
And then I also love Game of Thrones.
Same. I tried to rewatch that, by the way, and I was very excited to because there's so many lessons in that show
Mhm.
that I was excited to watch it for the second time because that's what I usually do. I watched like 2 episodes and I was like,
You didn't like it?
I just was not interested in going on, and I was like, this is very weird because I've been looking forward to it, and I've watched House of Dragon like 5 times. I love House
Honestly,
of
it was
Dragon.
weird. It was weird to watch the first time.
I think it's because it's such a long series. I was like, bro,
I was confused
I'm not trying to do this
halfway
right now.
through about what was
it
happening.
started to suck. It started to deviate away from the books.
Oh, really?
Like the second like
read
Danny
the
started to
books?
become like stupid and like do all these nonsense things, I was like, wait a second. And then I went on like Game of Thrones lore online. I was like, oh,
Oh, yeah, you told me about that
it's
girl.
because they veered away from the books because the books stop at a certain point and the writer's still writing them. So then Hollywood took over and they did all this crazy stupid stuff where I was like, oh, that's why it ended terribly.
Oh.
Like the ending didn't happen in real. Like they haven't gotten to the ending. Like I don't even think half the people that died are dead yet. Some of the core characters that died didn't actually die in the books. We don't know what's gonna happen to them. Like some seriously important characters that are like massive moments
They need to watch.
are actually what happens. That's why I haven't wanted to watch it because I know the story's not over and I don't care to rewatch half the show that's terrible.
the fake
Yeah.
storyline.
Because the first couple seasons were so good.
Mm-hmm.
Like they always like a saying, they're like, "God's the Rising was good back then." That's what they always say on TikTok.
Yeah, no, Game of Thrones, that was cool. I watched that last year, maybe the year before. And then I also love like reality TV, Big Brother. So we're watching that right now.
Who's gonna win?
I don't know, probably Jag. I want Matt to win. Probably Jag. What else?
That's like 3 or 4 shows. That's pretty good.
That's not it.
Cruz, I have like 2 or 3 more rapid fire, but if you have any rapid fire too,
Nah,
ask
I'm
them
good.
away. No? Okay.
Rapid
All right.
fire.
Do you have any recurring dreams or dreams that are particular to you that stick out?
Reoccurring dreams. I mean, I had a reoccurring nightmare as a kid, which is so bizarre, and I never have figured out what it was. Did I ever tell you about this?
But you haven't said it yet. How is he
well,
gonna know?
I don't know if you knew because I have like one.
Oh.
Basically, I went to elementary school at this one place, and there was like, do you know when like schools got too overflowed? They put those portables. Did you guys have portables?
Oh, like campers almost?
Yeah, like in the
an
back with
RV
different
kind of thing? Yeah.
classrooms.
Yes, we had
So
those
there was
trailers.
like a trailer in the back of the elementary school, and it was Valentine's Day because in my dream there's like little hearts hanging everywhere, but there's like there's cubbies that you put your stuff in, and basically there's like a intruder on campus at my elementary school.
Real life?
And I have to.
There's a real intruder?
No.
Or is this like a dream? Oh, this is the
my
dream.
dream.
Right,
This
right.
is
Sorry,
my
sorry. Okay. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Okay,
And
sorry.
so then there's an intruder, so they're like making us hide, and I don't really know where to hide, so I end up hiding in one of the cubbies, and I put like a jacket in front of me because I was very small as a kid. So I hide in the cubby, and then like the intruder like comes in, and it's terrifying, and then I wake up. But I've had that dream like
I know it. I know.
like
I
5
just
times.
I just interpreted the dream.
What?
Didn't this just happen to you like 2 weeks ago here at this house?
Yeah.
No,
Bro.
I've had this dream since I was younger. Though.
Yo, that was a
You
prophecy.
But, yeah.
manifested it.
Oh, no.
that was traumatizing.
Yo, that is kind of scary. Wow.
Mm.
Bro,
But
that literally you predicted the future.
Bro,
But
I've had some
good
weird.
dreams.
You technically hid in a cubby. Kind of, didn't you?
I was just under my bed.
It's a cubby. Wow. Wild.
Yeah, we had an intruder.
Were you about to say something, Chris?
No, I was just gonna say that sometimes I'll have the most random dream, and I don't think there's any meaning to it
Probably.
whatsoever.
Maybe not. Yeah. I have no idea. I'm not sure what we're supposed to do with dreams. Most of the time I forget them anyway. And like,
No, the vast majority of times I forget.
It's
But
like
when I
thoughts.
do remember, it's just like,
yeah. Well, it's also like thoughts. Like thoughts might be important or might not be, but you're probably gonna have the same thought in a week anyway. Even if it's like a mind-breaking thought, or you're like, whoa, I've never thought that before. It's like, yes, you have.
Nope. The ones that
100%.
you want to remember, you never remember. It's horrible. Always write them
All right.
down, folks.
I do write a lot of thoughts down.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Where do thoughts come from?
Oh my God. I don't know. I don't.
I don't know
I don't
either. Conspiracies? Any that you subscribe to that you're like
any
facts?
conspiracies?
Like we didn't land on the moon, or like for sure pyramids were made by aliens, or
I did watch a whole
Earth is
YouTube
6,000 years
video
old.
on pyramids, and it was really interesting, and I was enjoying it very much. But I don't think I'm not really a huge conspiracy
Flat
person.
Earth?
No, not a flat Earth.
hollow moon,
Aliens.
hollow Earth.
Aliens exist.
Do aliens exist?
They
Yeah,
absolutely
probably.
exist.
Probably.
I don't know for sure, but
I do.
I mean,
Oh yeah, true. I forgot. Yeah, me and Cruz are both arch alien believers. He's probably more than me.
I don't have to believe it. I saw it.
oh yeah, he did. He did. He saw a UFO.
Not
I remember-
Into
I remember you
it.
told
Not
me that.
today. We'll save it for
All right,
another time.
here's a solid question. I think this and there might be one more after, but
Okay.
oh, actually, I want to ask this before because it's like a semi-serious question. So we had AI that kind of like trampled the internet for a few months there, and then kind of went back into slumber.
hmm
And then we had this talk about universal based income, which is just everyone just gets a stipend every month. That kind of happened during COVID. We saw, opposite effects across different areas. So like some people got lazy with it. Some people used it to start a business. Like I didn't really, I'm trying to think if I got any money from, I got a little bit of money. I don't think I used it particularly that well. But some people started businesses during that time. What do you think about the CBDCs? Because in relation to Web3 and metaverse stuff, they all kind of tie together in my head. Like universal based income will probably be distributed through a US backed government crypto, just instead of the US dollar. And so if that happens, A, like what are your thoughts on people just getting a $2,000 stipend, everyone? And then B, what do you think about it being backed by the government? Controlled by the government as a crypto.
Like, that's a lot.
Like, what are your thoughts on it in general? Like a Big Brother type of world, like we read in school, like 1984, like books like that.
I mean,
Like, is that a possibility? Is that something that's just slightly just like probably not going to happen? Or what do you think about all that stuff?
I don't know. I feel like there can't be too much control there, and I feel like when you give people something, then they owe you something in return. So it's like everyone who's been giving this income, like at some point they're gonna ask for something.
Yeah.
And if that's your freedom, or if that's your
freedom.
firstborn, or I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like there's too many possibilities. It just doesn't even seem real.
But you know what's scary to me that you just said that? Like my friend is getting her eggs frozen. And I was like, bro, that's
How old is she?
probably smart. She's like 21 or something, 22.
Wow.
I don't know. She was just thinking, she works in the healthcare industry, so she's like aware of all this stuff. But anyways, I was like, yo, so like, where do they keep all that? She was like, I don't know, some place or whatever. And I was like, does anyone know like what they're doing with those things? I was like, they just got like a bunch of eggs and what? They're just not doing anything with them. I was like, I feel like they're probably like injecting them with
interesting.
something. I was scared for that because I'm like, bro, they have access to probably millions at this point of like potential babies.
Right.
And like for
Oh my
guys,
God, I
if
never
you
thought
have
about
like
that.
sperm, then I'm like, bro, you got like billions in there. So I'm like,
Mhm.
that's like a billion kids you could have in like 5 vials. So I'm like, bro, that's a lot of power right there for these random healthcare buildings to just have all this access to eggs and sperm. Bro, I'm
Wow.
like, bro, sperm are endless. I mean, there's like, I'm like, I don't know, that is crazy to me that they have all that.
I would never would have thought about that.
I just thought of that when she Snapchatted me the other day. I was like, whoa.
I want to piggyback off of what you said for freedom. I heard this from somebody, I don't know who said it, but he said that the only thing that people will trade their freedom for is safety. So it could be like, oh yeah, get this safe and secure job, but then you give away your freedom.
Yeah.
Not to say that all jobs are bad, but
Yeah.
you guys get what I'm saying. Or, like, if you don't wear a mask, then you're not going to be safe. The only thing that people will trade their freedom for is safety. And that's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
You remember that quote I said that we were going to roll with for one of the episodes? It was about Web3. It was like, when people are tired of chaotic freedom, they always run back to security. And that's why people will start in NFTs with this liberal mentality of like everything works all the time, no rules, no this, and then it doesn't work. And they're like, stocks. And I'm like, oh man,
Because
they were
something else.
right. Like that's what I was thinking in the beginning, and then I was like, oh, it's definitely a balance a little bit. Just the things Kate worries about. I think they're like behind by like maybe like 30 seconds. But no, I it's just facts, bro. Like, I mean, you get tired eventually. It's like young people, and then when they get to their middle age, like I could do that, but it's just like, bro, it's like a lot of work. You know, they start to trade all that stuff. It just inevitably, but also like your values change. So maybe you just don't care about the things that you wanted to have when you're 20 too. But I have a final question here, unless Cruz, you have another one as well.
No, knock it out.
Have you ever felt misjudged for something you said online, or you said something that came off wrong and you were like, bruh, or you were like, crap, I actually said that wrong?
No, I definitely said something wrong when I was on a podcast this year.
This year?
Yeah, this year.
Oh.
I won't get into it, but I basically said I want a wedding that's like hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then people started calling me the most entitled person on the planet. But I mean, I felt
so dead.
I felt like I had worded it wrong in the moment, but now I'm looking back and I'm like, no, they just portrayed me wrong, because I've always been that way.
Yo,
like
she got roasted.
I
for that.
want like
absolutely roasted. It was funny.
I want just luxury. I want an incredible life. I want everything that life has to offer, and like that's what we want together. So it's like it's not out of touch. But also, people think a couple $100,000 is a lot of money, when like it's really not. Like if I want to fly out my entire family for like a wedding in Europe, it's probably $50,000 for like all the flights, you know? So it's like, it's going to add up, and people have very small belief systems. So it seems like I'm out of touch, but I'm just living in a different reality. Like my things I desire are just bigger than most people, I think. Yeah. So yeah, definitely was misjudged.
No, I can see that. I can see that being misjudged.
I have a question.
But also, I don't know if I want a couple $100,000 wedding anymore. I did, and I'm unsure, because I've actually been watching a lot of these like not elopement videos, but they're like private weddings, and they just look so fun.
They look phenomenal.
They look really fun, and I never really thought that was like a possibility or a thing.
Yeah. And
now that I've seen it, and I've seen it romanticized, and people made really cute TikToks, I'm like, oh, maybe I just want like. I have like 6 siblings, like you know, and like
also do more than one wedding.
Parents,
I know a lot of people have done multiple weddings too.
True.
They're just like, bro, it's a ceremony. They're like,
tell them about the story of how we started dating.
The short story, long story.
No. I'm talking about like when it became official. Just that, not the actual story, but the how we made it official.
Oh, when I asked.
Yeah.
Well, Cruz and I had been hanging out every day. We met on January 1st, and we hung out like every single day until January 11th. And then on January 11th, I was like, so are you going to ask me to be your girlfriend or what?
I was like,
yo!
And he was like, yeah.
Right there? Did you ask her right there?
No, I just said,
that
and
then
it. She's like,
so we were like,
okay. And I was like, all right.
You were like, I just need some clarity here, fam.
Yeah, I was
What's
like
going
confused
on
what was happening.
That's
so
funny, bro. That is funny.
Hey, tell the story about how you met him, like in person, because that's pretty funny too.
Oh yeah, that was weird.
It's the restaurant or the Starbucks, right?
No, but you were running.
It's just so random.
Oh yeah.
It's like that's the most random,
bro.
thing
That
ever,
was
bro.
bizarre.
Cade moved to Seattle.
Yeah.
And then I was living in Florida, and I was like, oh my god, I'm from Seattle. We met on the internet, so I was like, oh, I'm from Seattle. But then I finally moved back to Seattle, and I was walking to Starbucks to get my little Starbs, and I see this man running, like just jogging with like a ponytail, and I have horrible eyesight, you guys. Like I literally cannot see, and I'm like, is that? And so I'm like,
is that a man or a
I was
woman?
like, but your hair was longer at the time, so I like you had a very distinct hair, and
I had
like
very long
your
hair back then.
highlights and stuff. So I could like kind of tell it was you. So I messaged you and I was like, hey, were you just running?
Yeah, I remember that.
And you were like, actually, yeah.
Dude, that was actually crazy.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I had also seen you like a couple weeks before, but I think you guys were moving in.
Yeah, that's so crazy.
And I looked
too.
into the window, I was running past your building, and I was like, I feel like I know. I was like, I think that's her, and I didn't know you at the time, but I was like, I assume that's her and her guy, and I was like, I feel like that's them, and I was like, there's no way I just ran right past them while they were running. Like that's not impossible, but that's like what happens when you live in the city.
Mm-hmm.
Like I ran into Casey like 20 times.
Oh yeah, I was with them the other day. They were saying every time they leave the house, they see you.
Every time I would just run like random, totally different parts of the city. Like I was like walking way past like in like Pioneer Square once.
I ran into Casey on the
street.
he
just like walks out with like a
I
suitcase. I was like, bro, where are you coming from? He's at the airport. I'm like, bro, we're in Pioneer Square. Why are you here? He's like, I don't know, we're at a restaurant. It's like, Wow, that is crazy.
Oh,
And that stuff
random.
happens all the time,
Mhm.
dude. Especially people I didn't want to see on the street. That happened to me also. But
Man, isn't that weird how life be like putting the most random people? You're like, why
Yeah.
are you here?
true. Yeah, facts. Dang, bro. I think we just covered a ton. I think we should probably have you back on at some point too. What
You know.
do you think, Cruz?
Yeah, it was good.
Okay.
No, absolutely, for sure.
Also, okay. Do you want to close out with? Do you want to shout anybody out or anything out? Anything you got going on? Anyone you want to closing remarks?
Shout me out.
Follow me on Instagrams.
Here, what's your
at
Instagram? I'll type it in.
LeAnn does know so.
LeAnn, is it 2 N's? Donoso? That?
Does know so.
Oh, does know so.
Which I actually will be changing here soon.
Whoa, you
Whoa,
had that
to
for a
what?
long time.
I'm gonna rebrand just to LeAnn Donoso.
Wow. Do you have
And
that?
Yeah, it's open.
Whoa. Okay. Well, you shouldn't have said that live. Someone's gonna
No,
snag it and
it's okay.
make you pay like $1 million for it.
But yeah, so follow me there. I am creating more lifestyle content now. I used to always create content like for business purposes, a lot about trading and stuff, but
Yeah.
now I'm getting more into like lifestyle and
What's the goal with that, by the way? You're trying to get brand deals? Like, are you just trying to make more content, more creative, or what?
yeah, just make my own brand to find like my own community
Got
of
it.
like people, because I'm telling you guys, I have like a very weird personality, very weird interests,
Mm.
and I feel like there's not a huge amount of women. I definitely think that there's a lot of women that can relate to me, but not a huge amount that are like love Disney Channel and Disney and love playing soccer and love
We didn't even
personal
talk about sports.
personal
That's
growth.
crazy. We could go on for an hour just talking about soccer and pole vaulting and wrestling.
Oh, I forgot
the
about
fact
that.
that we didn't even talk about
Yeah,
that
yeah, true.
is crazy.
Yeah, we'll have
Um,
it back on.
But yeah, so I want to
Next time.
definitely like showcase that and find like a community there. Plus I want to like, I have this idea of just like romanticize your life. Like I want that to be some sort of like motto.
Yeah.
That's not
beautiful.
how you spell it, but that's funny.
Crap, did I mess it
It's
up?
okay. It's okay.
How do I misspell it?
Does KNOW?
Oh,
No, so, yeah.
I am literally an idiot. Wow. Well, that's why you
Me
couldn't find
neither.
her if you were trying to look for her. I misspelled no. That's embarrassing.
It's okay.
Fire. Well, I mean, honestly, that's a great message because that's how you build the brand. Like me and Cruz started this podcast. We didn't really know what we were doing, who we were going to interview, if we were going to interview, what we were going to talk about. But we were like, well, either we figure it out by thinking about it, which won't happen, or we just film 10 episodes and on the 8th one we figure something out.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And by the 3rd episode, we were like, we should interview people, which wasn't actually, it was like an idea we might do. And then now we've interviewed Mike Nav. We interviewed LeAnn. Like those are like 2. Have we interviewed anyone else? It's just Mike and LeAnn, right?
Nope, but we got some people lined
Yeah,
up.
we got more
Did you
people coming
interview
up.
Chris? Was there?
No, we're gonna have them on later.
Yeah, we got some really cool people. Do we know, is next week, is that confirmed? I forget. We want to say it now?
It is.
Or do you want to wait?
Yeah. Next week we got my brother Nico from Australia. We got the flyer dropping. It's gonna be super, super dope.
That's so
I've
cool.
had a lot of success in business, traditional business. It's gonna be fun.
Right. Awesome.
I
All
love
right, guys.
that.
Thank you so much for being here. Until next. Oh, hit the like button. Follow for more. I don't know what platform you're watching this on because we got actually 100 different channels going right now. But follow us on all platforms, and we'll see you guys next Saturday. I think it's going to be a nighttime podcast.
Yeah, because he's in Australia.
Oh.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do I think he said midday.
Midday. For him or for
No,
us?
morning his time, midday for us.
Midday for
We'll
us.
figure out the time.
Yeah, we'll post on Instagram and stuff like that. So until next time, continue on your Joyage, continue to learn, and be grateful for your life watching this stream.